Chula! Thank you so much for clicking onto this video. And if you are new here, well then, hi, hello, my name is Kai. And if you're coming back to my channel, well then, it's great to see you, babe. Here on my channel, I aim to share my experience as a person who has left the Jehovah's Witnesses organization and what it was like to grow up in a high-control Christian cult. So today I figured that we would talk about... Oh my gosh, sorry, it's so embarrassing. Sorry, just one second.
Hey, bitch.
Hola Chula.
Okay, but you know Serena Williams, she's like a world famous tennis player, Okay, well, I didn't know this, but apparently she got baptized as a Jehovah's Witness.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, but don't say anything.
Well, now I have to tell them.
No, I'm being serious.
But you know I was gonna tell them.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. See you later. Call me back. Oh my gosh. Today, the 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗆 is muy caliente.
Can I get your name and where you're from, if you don't mind?
I'm Kai.
Kai, can I get spelling for you?
Straight out of Dogtown, K-A-I.
Serena Williams has become the absolute talk of the XJW community. And you might be thinking, well, what does Watchtower organization have to do with a world-famous tennis player? You may or you may not know that Serena and Venus Williams were raised Jehovah's Witnesses. You may see Serena Williams in Nike commercials, in news headlines, and even on a box of Wheaties. So definitely she has indeed made a name for herself. And in fact, she's even created herself a brand. But very recently, she became a baptized Jehovah's Witness. So all of this time that she's been a world famous athlete, she was like an unbaptized publisher of the organization, and therefore she wasn't held to the same standards that a person like myself would have been because I was a baptized publisher. Many people in the ex-Jehovah's Witness community view this as an example of blatant hypocrisy on Watchtower's part. But before we talk about that, we have to understand what Watchtower says about the pursuit of fame and excess. So you know I went out and found some videos and articles for us that clearly display how being a Jehovah's Witness celebrity is inherently contradictory to what Watchtower preaches and believes.
If the devil tempted Jesus, don't you think he would try to tempt us in order to jeopardize our relationship with God?
This is the best contract we've ever offered you. Listen, I'll get you a plane so you can attend your religious meetings during the week. Just do the concert for us on the weekend.
People always ask me, why did you leave the music world? I had dreams about becoming a famous singer. Then I learned the truth, but I never fully removed those dreams from my heart. And then I started listening to some bad influences from my past. And they got me hooked. Then they reeled me into the recording studio. The lyrics in the songs, they really bothered my conscience. So they offered me some liquor to loosen me up. And then I started to feel more comfortable. And those songs ended up all over the radio stations. It was as if Satan gave me a trophy for abandoning Jehovah. When you're really at the top of Satan's world, there's nothing beautiful there. I was an actor, and when the cameras turned on, my face and my smile turned on too. But when I would get back to the hotel, it was a huge letdown. There was no applause, just that silence that tormented my conscience. I had to make drastic decisions. But finally I said, I don't care what they offer me. I have to return to Jehovah. So I prayed to Jehovah very earnestly and said, Jehovah, I need to return to you. I need to return to your loving arms. Satan has ripped me away from you. Please help me. It's Jehovah who gives us our talents, so we should use them all in his service.
Soccer was my reason for living. I always dreamed of becoming a professional soccer player. I thought that happiness comes from fame, a good career, money. When I was 12, I learned about Jehovah from my mom. At that time, she started studying the Bible. And after about a year, I began to preach from door to door. I finished school and I received an invitation from the Dynamo Soccer Club in Kyiv. Since childhood, I always dreamed of playing for Dynamo. From that moment on, all my energy and all my time were devoted to my career. There was no time left for spiritual things. Of course, being around people like that, I became just like them. I led an immoral lifestyle because huge amounts of money opened up many opportunities. Going to nightclubs, the nightlife, it was so immoral. Everyone wants to be your friend, to meet you. And of course, this was tempting. I also invested huge sums of money in real estate. I wanted to create a foundation for the future and wealth for myself, my family, and my relatives, so that no one would be in need. Yes, I was sure that this really was happiness. A new generation of soccer players was arriving, many young guys. I stopped being included in the starting lineup. Also, the financial crisis began, and real estate prices fell drastically. I panicked, and I started to think about the meaning of life. What really is the meaning of life? If it's not a career, not money, then what is it? I began to study the Bible again, along with my wife. Everything that this world offers is all short-lived, and it's only an illusion. People see only one side of the picture, the fame, the money. The other side is the injuries, disappointments. It's very hard psychologically and emotionally. You have no freedom. That's why it's better to give the very best to the one who appreciates it. What you do for Jehovah will always bring you happiness, joy, and satisfaction.
The fact of the matter is that while it isn't inherently sinful or wrong to enjoy playing music or to enjoy playing sports, it is the pursuit of those endeavors that is incorrect in Watchtower's eyes, because at the end of everything, your whole existence should be predicated on being a Jehovah's Witness. In these examples, the men who had prestigious careers, had fame and recognition, left it behind in order to serve the organization. So this is a case where someone was famous and then they became a Jehovah's Witness. But what is the advice and counsel for the regular, everyday Jehovah's Witness? Let's take a look at this Watchtower article to deduce exactly what that life consists of. In a 1989 Watchtower article entitled "How Rewarding is the Pursuit of Fame?" it reads, "Instead of envying celebrities who have a passing name of fame with men, would it not be far more rewarding and satisfying for you to seek a good name with God by good works in harmony with His written word? Desire abiding joy and contentment, we should avoid centering our life around material pursuits, for these have no lasting value and often lead to bitter disappointment. So instead of looking enviously at the few who have attained fame and fortune, we will be content in having something far more valuable: an approved relationship with the Most High." If we are to live a simple life, we must involve ourselves only with the things needed to maintain a reasonable livelihood. So Jesus admonished us to avoid accumulating a lot of these things. Why? because they can complicate our life and lead us astray. In fact, Jesus said that his true followers are no part of the world. This means, as the Apostle Paul said, that Christians should not be using the world to the full. So hopefully this made it clear that in Watchtower's eyes, the pursuit of fame and notoriety is frowned upon, and instead the spiritual person seeks to cultivate a simple life of little material goods and total dedication to their ministry service. So with this attitude in mind, I think it's fine to wonder exactly why a celebrity would want to convert to being a Jehovah's Witness when it would mean having to walk away from your career and your status. One, because celebrities are just regular people who are also susceptible to manipulation and cult mind control tactics. Also, since when have they ever been the bastion of good judgment and good decision-making skills?
This is a mess.
And three, because, in all actuality, if you are a real top-bill, typically American celebrity, then it's perfectly fine for you to entertain both of these worlds. You can be a Jehovah's Witness and then not have to walk back your status. So if we take a step back and examine Serena Williams' wider career, obviously she wasn't just a tennis player. She was a huge name in the world of sports, and therefore she was a brand. She was a role model. She was a symbol of women's progression in society. While she grew up in the truth, she wasn't ever a baptized publisher, so she was able to, yes, entertain both of these spaces. She could have that loose grip on the belief, still be sort of like, witness adjacent in a way, and she could turn that on and off whenever she needed to, because it seems like throughout her career, her relationship with the organization has sort of like undulated over time. And that just seems like a really unfair loophole. Like, you don't get baptized so then you can go and be a part of the world, but then you get baptized when you're like done and you're ready now. I just realized I had my headphones in this whole time. Sorry, rude. For all of her career, she's been doing morally questionable things in the eyes of the greater Watchtower culture. For instance, posing in sexually suggestive photo shoots and marrying a worldly man. She's married to the co-founder of Reddit. Most definitely not a Jehovah's Witness, so... And even now that she is baptized, she can still continue to do those things, and nothing's really gonna happen to her, because what elder is really gonna pull Serena Williams, world famous tennis player? What elder is going to pull her in the back room and say that they need to discuss with her her behaviors in the last US Open? And Serena Williams is definitely not alone. There is actually a laundry list of Jehovah's Witness celebrities that honestly you would never expect these people to be in the Watchtower organization. I personally didn't know that the Wayans family grew up Jehovah's Witness, and they are pretty much all still believers, and I know that Damon Wayans is especially active, probably the most active out of the whole family. Then you have your Michael Jacksons, you have your Prince, Naomi Campbell, Eddie Griffin, Childish Gambino. I really could go on, but this video isn't really necessarily about them. Back in the 1990s, there was a very popular teen TV show called Sister Sister that starred Tia Mowry and her twin sister, Tamara Mowry. And the show was all about how they didn't know that they were twins, and then one day they found out they were twins, and then suddenly they're living together and it's a whole big thing. Well, they had a neighbor friend named Roger who was always, coming to their house and everything. But the kid who played Roger, Marques Houston, I apologize if I'm not saying his name right, it looks like Marquez to me. He grew up and he became a Jehovah's Witness in 2016. So Houston was a child actor and then later became an R&B singer, and Chris Stokes was his manager. Now, Chris Stokes is kind of all over. He's just a producer. He's a film producer, music producer, and I believe that he founded his own record label. So yeah, he's just kind of like an industry guy. Obviously, because they have this relationship, Houston and Stokes were very close, and in fact even consider each other to be family, even though as far as I can tell they're not actually related. It was through Stokes that Houston got introduced to the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, and back in 2016, he himself was baptized. And I think it's fair to note that even still today, Houston is releasing new music, and also starring in 𝗬𝗵𝗶 movies. You know, the peak of modern cinema. Houston converted to the religion, didn't have to give up his career, and in fact still continues to benefit from his career to this day. You don't need me to tell you why this is a problem. But I think the scummiest part about Houston's story is actually how he ended up with his now wife, 𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗃. Houston met 𝗃𝗃 at a Jehovah's Witness convention in either 2016 or 2017. He was introduced to her by Chris Stokes, whom also is very close to 𝗵𝗲𝗃 and considers her to be like his daughter, and she in fact is best friends with his real biological daughter. So again, very close, running in similar circles. 𝗃𝗃 was born in the year 2000. So that means that today, she can't be any older than 23 years old. And how old is Marques Houston? Well, he was a child star in the 90s before she was even conceived. So he's in his 40s, and that's weird. That's kind of strange, right? Why is he married to someone who is literally half his age? Yeah, these are all appropriate questions to ask. So basically, this news story just came out one day that Houston was engaged to this girl, and she was 19 at the time. No big deal. But people started to get curious about this girl because she shared the same name as a girl who had gone missing back in 2016 in Eugene, Oregon, named 𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃. So this is that girl. I mean, it is that girl. It is that girl. She was a missing person, and then one day she just turned up engaged to the little guy from Sister Sister. At some point, she got involved with Chris Stokes, who put her in contact with Marques Houston. She still would have been considered a minor child. And I think you can really fill in the blanks of the rest of that story. Houston met her when she was a young girl, and then waited until she was 18 to start dating her, 19 to get engaged to her, and 20 to get married to her, 21 to have a baby by her. 𝗵𝗲𝗃 definitely was not raised Jehovah's Witness, and I have very good reason to believe that she converted when she met Chris Stokes. I don't see any other reasonable time or reason why she would have gotten involved in the organization if it were not for him, who had been involved for quite some time himself. I do notice that he is one of the more vocal celebrity Jehovah's Witnesses. He's constantly talking about Watchtower. It's like literally all that his Instagram is filled with. And when this controversy came out around his suspicious engagement, he even took to Instagram to go on a long tirade about how Jehovah approves of this union and they have his blessing. The only reason that attention was drawn to Houston's engagement to 𝗵𝗲𝗃 is because he is a notable figure. He's a public figure. But the truth is that that is actually pretty commonplace in Watchtower culture. I've seen so many younger girls get married to men significantly older than them just because of the incongruent ratio between men and women. I think a lot of women feel like if they don't marry the first man who wants to marry them, then they will never find a mate, and that very well may be true. So oftentimes I think that young girls get married to older men who, for whatever reason, are not yet married, or maybe they're on their second marriage, and that's totally fine. I have anecdotal evidence of a family who allowed their 15-year-old daughter to get married to a man in his mid-20s. because he asked them nicely and they gave him permission, and then that was it. So yeah, I mean, it's really not that out of the ordinary for a much older man to pursue a much younger girl. Basically, the two of them are Jehovah's Witness influencers, if such a thing could even exist. But then it got me to thinking that maybe Jehovah's Witness influencers or celebrities play a different purpose to the Watchtower organization than the regular rank and file members. Not necessarily in positions within the Watchtower organization, but certainly with the public perception of the Watchtower organization. A video that I just did a couple weeks ago, it was talking about the public information department and how they are in charge of helping the JW.org brand to go viral, to get in front of as many eyes as possible. Well, if you're a celebrity and you have 4 million Instagram followers, that's 4 million people that you can preach to about the organization. That's really like when a celebrity joins an MLM and then they talk about it on their public social media platforms. Because they have so many people in their audience, and most of the time they're there because they respect or they admire this character, this personage that is this celebrity, they're going to associate certain brands with their favorite personalities. This is especially prominent now since social media has removed a lot of the barriers that kept celebrities, famous people, athletes away from the rest of society. But now that we have windows into their everyday lives and almost every thought that they have, people's connection to these individuals kind of grows a little bit deeper into what you would call a parasocial relationship, wherein you feel like you're building a relationship with a person that you are watching that they could never reciprocate to you. You cannot have a personal connection to someone who's got hundreds of thousands, even millions of followers. But those people can still definitely influence you. In a way, I think it's to Watchtower's benefit to have these celebrities keep their status so that they can share the message of God's kingdom, God's organization, to as many people as possible. And will it necessarily change everyone's opinion of the organization? Certainly not. But it'll definitely change other people's opinions, or maybe think a little bit more charitably of the organization or the beliefs that they have. Because why would my favorite person, why would this person that I respect so much and that I watch so much and find so entertaining, why would they be involved in something that is bad and nefarious? As much as the witnesses who are around these celebrity witnesses will say that they don't look at them any differently, they don't treat them any differently, we all know that that's not true. There's pictures of people video recording Serena Williams' baptism when if she was just like anyone else, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Thousands of people get baptized every year. Are you video recording all of those people too, or only the people you care about? In my opinion, if you're not her family or her very close friends, then that really shouldn't matter to you. You shouldn't be making a spectacle of yourself. So I guess the Watchtower says, be no part of the world unless you're useful to us in the world. Really, all Serena Williams' baptism is just another positive headline for the Watchtower organization. In some ways, I feel like regular members see Jehovah's Witness celebrities as like somewhat of a gift. They think it's amazing that a person who is so valued, so loved by the world would still want to be part of Jehovah's organization. Well, Watchtower has made that very easy for them to be able to do that by not holding them to the same standards that they would hold the rest of their members to. If I was a Jehovah's Witness, I would see that and get pissed. I would get irritated because obviously Watchtower is able to make exceptions for people to live their lives, to pursue their dreams and have what they've always wanted to have. But because you don't already have status and wealth and notoriety, that pursuit is kept from you. And you're told that it's wrong and against God to even want that. Just giving you something to think about, I guess. That was just my thoughts, just my opinion, and just my video. So, if you like this video, then you can leave it a like, And if you like me, well then you can subscribe to this channel where I will be talking about whatever I want, whenever I want, because this is my channel. And that's what we do here, baby. So subscribe. And as always, chulas, I hope that you are having a beautiful, wonderful, amazing rest of your day. Bye!